part 1 of the no contact video, we explored how a lot of men pull away from a woman to make her miss them. We covered how this approach is often misunderstood and misused because women are emotional detectives. Once they realize that you are playing emotional games, your strategies will have no effect on them. We also introduced the concept of strategic detachment as a more effective approach to deal with women, not because it will bring the woman back, but because it will bring you back. Let's dive deeper into this. When a man holds back just enough, when he stays slightly unpredictable, when he responds with calm intention instead of reflex, the woman starts to feel something new. She begins to chase. Not because she's being manipulated, but because something inside her has been activated. The need to close the emotional gap. That's when emotional investment begins. Not because you begged for it, but because she chose it. And the key to all of this? Balance. Too much distance and she feels forgotten. Too little and she forgets to value you. The power is in finding that space between certainty and mystery, where she's emotionally engaged, genuinely curious, and truly invested. A man who truly gets this doesn't withdraw his affection completely, nor does he smother her with constant attention. He finds the sweet spot, the kind of space that allows desire to breathe, curiosity to stir, and attraction to deepen. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding psychology, the natural rhythm of human emotion. It's about recognizing that attraction isn't just about love or connection. It's about keeping a dynamic alive. A dynamic that keeps both people engaged, not just attached. Space isn't disinterest, it's maintenance. It's the emotional equivalent of sunlight and air. Too much, and things dry out. Too little, and things suffocate. But the right amount? That's where growth happens. A woman doesn't forget a man who makes her feel something. And she feels something when she's given space to miss, to wonder, to experience anticipation. This is exactly why men who are always available, always ready to please, often struggle to maintain a woman's interest. They remove the one thing that keeps her emotionally invested: emotional contrast. Without that, the experience becomes flat, predictable. But when a man understands this, everything shifts. He no longer fears a little distance. He no longer lives in performance mode, trying to constantly prove himself. He simply trusts his presence and the absence of it to speak for itself. And when she feels that absence, not out of punishment but out of evolution, she starts to realize something powerful. She doesn't want to lose him. And that realization can change everything. When a man reacts emotionally to a woman pulling away, texting in bursts, seeking reassurance, panicking, he unintentionally confirms something damaging, which is that his emotional center revolves around her, that her presence is his stability, and nothing drains attraction faster than neediness, cloaked in affection. Women don't respond positively to desperation, no matter how heartfelt. What they respond to is emotional composure. They respond to men who stay grounded, who keep moving forward, who continue living with purpose, regardless of who's watching. The natural instinct for many men, when faced with emotional distance or perceived rejection, is to chase, to fix it. They write long texts, over-explain their feelings, ask, "Where do we stand?" like they're waiting on a performance review. But these actions, while well-intended, don't rebuild attraction. They often destroy attraction, because attraction isn't sparked by logic. It's sparked by presence, energy, and strength. It's built when a man shows, not tells, that he is enough, with or without her approval. And here's the twist. Sometimes women test men without even realizing it. A sudden pullback, a colder tone, a little space. It's not always a sign of disinterest. Sometimes It's a subconscious probe. Will he break? Will he beg? Or will he hold his frame? These tests aren't cruel, they're instinctual. They reveal volumes about how a man handles pressure, distance, and emotional unpredictability. The way he responds is everything. If he spirals, she sees instability. If he stays steady, she sees strength. And in those moments, she decides whether he's the kind of man she respects or the kind she forgets. The key is to remain grounded. A high-value man understands that his worth isn't dictated by the behavior of one person. He doesn't chase validation because he already validates himself. He doesn't beg for attention because he knows that real attraction can't be forced. It flows, or it doesn't. When a woman pulls away, the high-value man doesn't spiral or script out emotional essays. He simply continues. He focuses on his goals, lives with purpose, and leans into the very qualities that made him magnetic in the first place. This isn't emotional numbness, it's emotional discipline. He knows that holding his frame, staying true to who he is far more powerful than reacting in desperation. So instead of flooding her inbox, he gives space. Instead of seeking reassurance, he stays the course. Instead of pulling her closer, he steps back just enough for her to feel his absence. And in that space, something subtle but powerful happens. She begins to question. When a woman realizes that a man doesn't need her to feel confident or whole, her perception of him changes. She no longer feels pressure. She feels curiosity. She stops seeing him as just another emotionally reactive man and starts seeing him as someone rare, someone strong. And that shift, that's where attraction begins to reignite. A woman may appreciate a man who is kind, attentive, and affectionate, but respect, the kind that fuels lasting desire, comes from seeing that he can stand tall no matter what's happening around him. When she sees that he doesn't flinch at emotional tension, doesn't let fleeting emotions dictate his actions, something deeper sets in. She doesn't just like him, she admires him. And admiration is the cornerstone of lasting attraction. This isn't about playing games. It's not about withholding or manipulating. It's about modeling the kind of self-respect that naturally earns respect in return. A man who gets this doesn't need emotional theatrics or grand gestures to regain balance. He simply holds his ground. His presence, or the deliberate, composed absence of it, says more than words ever could. And that changes everything. He stops chasing. She starts noticing. He stops seeking validation. She starts valuing. He no longer feels powerless in the face of her emotional shifts because his power was never rooted in her response. It was always in his ability to stay steady. When a woman pulls away, many men either panic or retreat entirely, believing that no contact is the golden ticket. They vanish, hoping that silence will do the heavy lifting. And yes, space can create attraction, but only when it's handled with intention. Simply disappearing without understanding the deeper psychology at play can backfire. Because here's the truth. Her attraction isn't based on whether you text her or not. It's based on how you carry yourself, regardless of whether you do. It's not about silence. It's about stance. It's about how you present your value, how you maintain your emotional balance, and how you remain a challenge, not through games, but through grounded presence. The problem with strict no contact is that it's often fueled by fear and scarcity rather than strength and confidence. When a man pulls away entirely, it can sometimes reveal emotional fragility instead of resilience. It signals that he's reacting to the situation rather than leading it with intention. Disappearing might seem like power, but without purpose behind it, it's just silence. Real strength comes from cultivating detachment while still remaining fully present. not in her life, but in your own. That means showing up in the world as the best version of yourself. Active, focused, and fully alive. It's not about hiding or waiting. It's about living. When your energy shifts from how do I get her back to how do I become unstoppable, everything changes. Because women are sharp. They know when a man is implementing no contact like it's a playbook strategy, pressing pause on communication just to provoke a reaction. That kind of move might work once, maybe twice, but over time, it becomes transparent, and worse, it loses its effect. There's a better approach. Rather than cutting her off cold, a high-value man subtly shifts the dynamic. He doesn't chase, he doesn't explain. He simply lets his life speak. If they share social circles, she should see him engaged, confident, enjoying himself. If they are connected online, his presence should reflect growth, not grudge, progress, not pettiness. He's not trying to spark jealousy. He's simply radiating a life of purpose. And that, in itself, is magnetic. Because here's the truth. Women don't respond to absence. They respond to presence with purpose. If you disappear without leaving behind a trace of emotional gravity, you become easy to forget. But if you remain in the picture on your own terms, living well, moving forward, and carrying yourself with calm certainty, then she starts to notice. She starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why isn't he reaching out? Why does he seem so unbothered? That curiosity, that's the spark. It's the re-entry point for renewed attraction. Not because you chased, not because you explained, but because you pulled back into your own orbit. And she felt the shift. The most powerful thing a man can do in this situation is to redirect his energy. Stop analyzing every detail. Stop waiting for the notification. Put that energy where it belongs. Into you, into your body, your mind, your mission. Upgrade your lifestyle. Sharpen your focus. Evolve so unapologetically that others can't help but take notice, including her. This isn't about seeking external validation. It's about becoming so fully engaged in your own growth that attraction becomes a byproduct of your presence. A woman doesn't want to feel like she's the center of a man's universe. She wants to feel like she's stepping into the world of a man who's already whole, already driven, already lit from within. And the more he shows that his world is full of meaning, momentum, and direction, the more she realizes maybe she underestimated him. And that realization is far more powerful than disappearing into silence and hoping she eventually looks back. There's a subtle but critical difference between ignoring someone and making them feel the loss of your presence. One is passive, the other is purposeful. When a man pulls back his energy while continuing to move forward in his life, he doesn't just vanish, he creates intrigue. And when mystery is paired with strength, it becomes one of the most magnetic forces in attraction. This approach isn't about playing games or stirring jealousy. It's about embodying self-respect. It's about showing, not telling, that he's a man of value. He doesn't need to prove his worth. He just lives it. And the moment a woman senses that he's no longer chasing her validation, something shifts. She starts to wonder if she misread the situation. If maybe, just maybe, she assumed he would always be there, waiting in the wings. That flicker of doubt, that's the beginning of a new perception. When a man understands how to work with this dynamic, he frees himself from being ruled by someone else's emotional tides. He doesn't force control, he commands it through focus, purpose, and quiet confidence. He doesn't chase, he attracts. When a man experiences rejection or distance, his first instinct is often emotional, either retreat entirely or try to win her back. But both extremes miss the mark. The most powerful response isn't external at all. It's internal. Instead of analyzing her behavior, he shifts his attention inward. He refines himself. And when that refinement is real, when it comes from genuine growth and not performative effort, the energy shifts. Others feel it. She feels it. One of the biggest traps men fall into is tying their value to a woman's approval. When they do, they either overcompensate by chasing or retreat out of wounded pride. Neither strategy solves the real issue, because attraction in its deepest form isn't about declarations or big gestures. It's about presence, and presence can't be faked. A man who invests in becoming undeniable, mentally, emotionally, physically, doesn't have to convince anyone of his worth. It speaks through how he shows up. And in most cases, when a woman senses that transformation, she responds, not because she was pressured to, but because something has changed in the way she perceives him. He no longer needs her recognition, and that's exactly what makes her take notice. During this time, a man's energy should not be scattered, chasing someone else's attention. It should be anchored in growth. His mission, his mindset, his evolution. That's the real shift. Not just mental, but energetic. It's something others can feel, because people, especially women, are drawn to certainty, direction, and quiet confidence. And when a man embodies those traits, his absence isn't petty, it's potent. It leaves a mark, not because he tried to hurt her, but because he became so focused, so centered, that she couldn't help but wonder, what changed? Maybe she pulled away because he was too available, too predictable, too dependent on her for emotional fulfillment. But now he's no longer reacting. He's not doing what she expected. He's not seeking her cues to determine his value. And that unexpected calm, that unshaken focus, it says everything. It's this unpredictability, this refusal to react in the ways she expected, that makes a woman stop and reassess. At the core of this shift is one thing: confidence. Not the loud, performative kind that postures and pretends, but the quiet, steady kind, built through real action. When a man pushes himself, physically, mentally, emotionally, he develops a strength that doesn't seek validation. It radiates it. And that's the kind of confidence women genuinely respect. The kind they're drawn to without even realizing why. When a man stops chasing and starts elevating himself, he naturally becomes magnetic. His energy changes. He moves with purpose. And here's where another key element comes into play: social proof. If she sees that others admire him, friends, colleagues, even strangers, her perception begins to shift. She starts to wonder, did I miss something? That's why it's so important for you to cultivate meaningful relationships and surround yourself with people who challenge and uplift you. When she sees that you are respected by others, it challenges her earlier assumptions. It's not about sparking jealousy or playing mind games. It's about living such a rich, purposeful life that she has no choice but to reconsider what she once took for granted. Because women are naturally drawn to men with a strong identity, men who know who they are and where they're headed. If she walked away because you seemed stagnant or emotionally dependent, seeing you evolve genuinely can shake her expectations. She may even feel that she acted too soon, that she overlooked your potential. But here's the important part. This transformation isn't about her. Because the moment you begin changing for her, you give your power away again. The real breakthrough is when the growth is self-driven, when you're not trying to win her back, but to become a better man for yourself. That mindset not only increases your attractiveness, it protects your peace as well. It ensures that whether she returns or not, you win either way. Because the most important thing to remember is that if your absence doesn't mean anything to her, your presence never meant anything either. If she comes back, It's because she now recognizes a value that can't be ignored. And if she doesn't, you don't unravel. You don't feel that same sense of loss, because in the time she pulled away, you expanded your world, your purpose, your network, your vision for yourself so significantly that one person's absence no longer defines your worth. That's what real strength looks like. Not tactics, not emotional games, just a man who no longer needs to chase, because you're always moving forward. I know this message resonated with you. So hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notifications. You do not want to miss the next video.